Hey friends, it's Lauren again here at Mill City Roasters. I am here today. I'm very excited to roast our last Colombia Decaf coffee. This is the third of our decaf series. We've got another awesome EA processed Colombia. This is a coffee that is available on our website right now. It is an EA Colombia Cauca. It's a Castillo variety from a couple different farms, sort of a cooperative farm growing situation, and I really love this coffee, and I developed a profile for it that I'm super excited about. I'm really happy to be able to give this to my decaf friends and have them have a coffee that is exciting, that is delicious, and that doesn't taste like the decafs that they're used to. On the sample table, this coffee was really interesting. I got a lot of toasted nut, a lot of great kind of earthy sweetness, reminded me of molasses. Some of those baked flavors that we get in really nicely sort of mellow Latin American coffees like vanilla, sugar, and almond extract. When I cupped this coffee as a sample roast, we actually had my roast, the light sample, and then we had a dark roast that Bryant had done for a customer. So we actually tasted it side by side. When you're working with a new coffee, it can be cool to taste it roasted to two distinctly different profiles, because it shows you a really wide variety of what's available in the flavor profile of the coffee, and then you could figure out which way you wanted to sort of steer it to its final roast profile that you were going to develop. So again, in my notes for sample roasting, I got like classic sort of chocolate chips, a little bit of yellow fruit, some apricot, and a little bit of lime, sort of citric acidity. Over on the dark roast profile, this coffee became really spicy, a little meaty, almost like a mesquite sort of barbecue smoke. I wrote honey barbecue sauce because I thought it was sweet, savory, spicy, sort of all of those nice flavors. I got a lot of cocoa and a lot of caramelized, almost burnt sugar, but the acidity was still great. I wrote limeade with a sparkling body, very good balance, and again, brown sugar and kind of a key lime pie, which is where that lime had sort of become a little darker and a little sweeter. What I thought would work really well for this coffee as a final profile was a solid medium. So I wanted to find a cup that was right in the middle of that light roast that I was tasting and the dark roast. And what's better for a medium roast profile than to develop a profile that spends equal amount of times in each of the phases. So that was my goal for this roast. About 30% in the drying phase, 30% in the mid, and a good 30% in development. In order to accomplish that, I'm going to do a slightly shorter soak, go in with a little more energy, and then try to gently taper off so I can round that out into a good roast profile of thirds. So I'm going to come down to our drop temperature, and then we'll get started. All right, getting ready to charge. Right around 375, maybe 373 just now, and my gas is off. I'm going in a little lower, just a hair lower, but then I'm going to come in with 2 kPa of fuel, which is more than almost half of my available fuel, and I'm going to do that after 40 seconds. So a shorter soak and going in with more energy. All right on target here for my green to yellow transition. Right at around 3 minutes and 20 seconds. So that means I'm going to go ahead and lower my fuel to 1.5. And I'm actually keeping kind of static air on this. I started with a high or sort of medium high airflow, and I'm going to leave that consistent throughout the whole roast. So I'm not adjusting air here. My theory was that this is just a really straightforward, simple roast. I wanted to have very, very few inputs to make it really repeatable. And I don't know, I kind of had this idea that it was just like really clean and really simple, and so I really wanted to pare it down as much as I could. I did forget to reset my timer, so that's not the real time. We're only about 4 minutes in here. At around 5 minutes, maybe a little more than 5 minutes, is when I'm going to start hearing my first outlier. At that point, I'm going to reduce the gas again to just 1 kPa, and I'm looking for a first crack, maybe about 6:30, 6:25. We'll see where we go. All right, I'm hearing a couple little outliers, so I'm going to drop down to 1 kPa. It's always risky using an outlier crack as a landmark because coffee is really different and there's a lot of variability within all of the seeds for one dose or one charge. So you might not get that outlier as early as you did when you first developed the profile. So it's a good idea to also have a timing mark that kind of backs that up or correlates with it, because if that outlier doesn't go when you're expecting it, you might kind of miss a significant fuel adjustment, and then you could kind of be off track. So I had both a timing mark and an outlier note in my roast plan, and I ended up hearing the outlier a little later than my timing mark, but I kind of made that adjustment sort of in between the two. All right, 650, little slow on the first crack mark, but I'm not going to worry too much about it. I'm going to drop my gas way, way down because I want to spend almost 3 minutes, 2.5 to 3 minutes here in development, and so I don't want this coffee to move too quickly during that time. I can already see when I'm looking at my percentage goals that my mid phase and my dry phase were pretty similar. They're both right now about 45% of my total time. So my job now is to keep an eye on that coffee, watch this development phase increase as the other two decrease, and then as soon as I hit my desired drop temperature, I know that I'm done. First crack has finished. I'm not hearing any more sounds in the roaster. If I was aiming for a pretty light profile, like what I did with that Colombia Decaf from the La Bodega offering, I'd probably stop the roast right here. But I do want to go a little bit more into that medium roast profile. I want a few more degrees in that finish temperature, so I'm going to let that coast. My ROR is down at around 6 or 7 degrees per minute, and I am just approaching 9:15 on the timer. All right. Try to grab a little of this coffee. Maybe we can kind of see what I'm talking about. There's a little bit of a shine, a little sheen here with the beans. They just look a little kind of semi-glossy. And that's kind of what I was talking about in that previous video with the EA processing method. So altogether, I dropped this coffee in about 9:50. The finish temp on the bean temperature probe was 375, which was right on target for my goal. My phase percentages were 35, 34, 31, so not exactly perfect, but well within kind of my range for what I was trying to do. And again, this coffee in the sample roast, tasted really sweet and round and sort of had nice toasted flavors. I wanted to maintain those and highlight that sweetness. Going from molasses and toasted nuts and chocolate chips with a little lime. This profile roast to us tasted earthy. We still had plenty of that molasses sweetness. Kind of a peanut butter cookie or a butterscotch, really good caramelization of those sugars. That chocolate chip note sort of turned to a dark chocolate or a darker chocolate, and we got dried raspberry and a little bergamot, sort of that black tea, bitter orange, really nice kind of floral note. So in summary, I love all of these decaf coffees. I hope that these videos make you a little less nervous about roasting decaf and a little more excited to source a great decaf, roast a great decaf, and really sell your customers on better decafs. I can't wait to take some of these home, drink them at night or late afternoon, cook with them, make cocktails with them, do all kinds of fun stuff that I wouldn't normally do with a caffeinated coffee. If you want to taste this coffee for yourself, it's available on our website at millcityroasters.com. You can check out the roast profile. We'll go ahead and put that in the notes for this video. And let us know what you think. Let us know what decafs you're roasting and when you like to drink them. Until next time, thanks for watching.